Chapter 1: Earth's Forgotten Architects. Imagine walking through a dense, green forest. The air is fresh, and the trees stretch to the sky like wise giants. Everything looks just the way it should, with birds singing and the rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze. But beneath your feet, hidden from sight, could be the story of an ancient civilization that lived long before us. There's a thought that maybe we aren't the first ones to build cities and make tools in ingenious ways. What if, millions of years ago, there was another group of beings who shaped the world in fascinating ways? This idea might seem like something out of a science fiction book, but let's take a moment to explore this possibility. Imagine creatures, maybe not too different from us, walking these lands long ago. They might have had their own cities and communities. Maybe they used materials available to them in the best ways they could, creating things we haven't yet discovered. Over millions of years, everything they built was buried or turned to dust by nature itself. The world moves on, and time has a way of hiding old stories under layers of earth and rock. Think about what these beings might have left behind. Not like giant pieces of metal or towering skyscrapers, but maybe smaller, simpler things. Maybe they used rocks to build tools or left markings that the wind and rain washed away over time. There could be signs somewhere deep underground, in places we haven't looked or can't reach yet. It's fun to think about how they might have lived. Did they have families and communities like we do? Did they have their own adventures, exploring the world that was new to them? What did they eat, and how did they get their food? Picture them sitting around a fire, just like we enjoy campfires today, sharing stories and ideas. If they did exist, these beings would have known a version of Earth that is both familiar and wildly different from our own. They might have seen plants and animals that are long gone now, creatures that we only know about because we have found their bones turned to stone. Just like how we have stories about animals like dinosaurs, maybe future beings will wonder about us once we're long gone. It's possible they had their own way of recording ideas and passing them down to younger generations. They might not have paper or screens, but perhaps they used something like marking on stones or passing information through spoken words. Think about all the things we talk about today, from telling stories to inventing new gadgets. It's possible they were just as curious about their world. One thing we'll never know for sure is what they called themselves, or even if they had different groups or names like we do today. It's interesting to think about language and how it changes over time. Every word we use has a history, and maybe there were forgotten sounds that filled the air back then. Sounds that would be music to our ears if we could hear them. We enjoy exploring the mysteries of the world and looking into the past to find meaning in our present. But the earth is vast, and there's so much we haven't discovered yet. Scientists dig up old bones and ancient tools, piecing together the puzzles of history, trying to understand what life was like thousands or even millions of years ago. We know that species come and go, some adapt, while others fade away. Throughout Earth's long history, there have been natural disasters, changes in climate, and shifts in the planet's land and sea. Maybe these old beings, whoever they were, faced these challenges too. They might have seen the world change around them, forcing them to adapt or move on, sometimes leaving behind their markings for anyone to find. Imagine, someday, stumbling upon something unknown. Maybe it's just a small rock, but when closely examined, it reveals something special. Something that gets experts all excited because it doesn't match anything we've seen before. That might be the key to unlocking those age-old mysteries In a world where the past is often hidden beneath the layers of time, every little discovery adds to the picture. It tells us that we're just one part of a long and ongoing story of life on this planet. Who knows what kinds of stories our own artifacts will tell in the far-off future? We can dream up all sorts of ideas about what came before us. It's exciting to imagine entire civilizations rising, thriving, and then disappearing into obscurity, leaving us to wonder and search. Maybe, just maybe, taking a moment to think about these possibilities connects us a little more to the world beneath our feet, rich with history and untold tales waiting for curious minds to uncover them. The thought that maybe we're not the only ones who have ever called Earth home invites us to explore with wonder, to respect the stories of ages past, and to continue learning about our beautifully mysterious world. Who knows what we'll discover next? One thing is certain, though, as long as there are people curious enough to search, we will find pieces of the puzzle, one small detail at a time. Chapter 2: Ancient Tech Uncovered. You know, sometimes I sit back and wonder about all the things we don't know yet. Imagine if, long before our ancestors were building huts or figuring out how fire works, there might have been other people here doing amazing things. It's like thinking maybe we've missed whole chapters of our past. And when you start to think like this, you start looking at every old rock or dusty ruin and asking, what if this isn't ours at all? One day, some explorers found something that led many to believe we aren't the first ones to ever call Earth home. Far away, where it's really hot with endless sand dunes, they stumbled upon strange items unlike anything ever seen. These things didn't look natural. They didn't look like just rocks or broken old pottery. They found something buried deep, way below the layers where we've found the oldest human-made stuff before. Now, at first, they just thought it was all natural formations. I mean, sometimes nature makes strange things, right? But as people dug more and carefully brushed away centuries of dirt, they saw patterns. People are really good at spotting patterns, and these patterns didn't have sharp lines or neat edges made by nature. These patterns had holes and slots and even lines that seemed like they formed part of something bigger. They were puzzled. And so were many scientists from all around the world when they got the news. So many questions started floating around, like, could these be just rocks? Or were they part of some old machine? They knew they had to be careful before jumping to conclusions. So, they started with tests and lots of tricky experiments. They tried to understand the age of these things using different methods, some involving special lights and chemicals. Turns out, whatever it was really old, so old that we're talking well before humans were even thought of being in the timeline. Now, some folks started making all sorts of guesses. Could these be relics left behind by some forgotten civilization? It's such an adventurous thought, picturing these people who knew how to make complex tools just disappearing one day without leaving other traces. Anyway, after finding these peculiar items, all sorts of people flew in from everywhere. Scientists, adventurers, and even just curious folks wanting to see if they could help solve this big mystery. There was one particular stone they found that caught a lot of attention. It was flat and had strange engravings on one side. It almost looked like it could be part of an ancient instruction manual, maybe for whatever this forgotten tech was supposed to do. But, of course, without the right context, it just looked like odd scratches to most people. Now, think about how mysterious all this is. Like reading a book with half the pages missing. Imagine you found this weird-looking thing in your backyard, and it was clear it belonged to someone very smart a very long time ago. It's kind of like if aliens dropped by, checked things out, and left a thing or two behind. The media caught wind of all this. Naturally, everyone was buzzing about the strange finds in the desert. Some headlines talked of secrets from the past, while others threw around ideas of ancient tech lost to time. Many folks were skeptical, but a whole lot of people were just thrilled, craving every bit of news or update they could get their hands on. Scientists kept working day after day, trying to piece together what all these finds could mean. Some started scanning other parts of the world, wondering if there could be similar buried surprises elsewhere. Every rock, every nook, got a second look, just in case. You know, when it comes down to it, the real treasure here isn't the objects themselves, it's the questions they make us ask and the stories they inspire. Maybe these discoveries will lead to more, or maybe they'll just remain a dazzling mystery. One of those things that forever tease the curious among us. Either way, if nothing else, it gets people talking. It makes us all think just a little differently about what we know and what's possible. Although we can't time travel or chat with these ancient builders, their tools and artifacts let us peek into a world we've never known, like shadows glimpsed in the flickering light of a campfire. That's the part that truly excites me. How each newly uncovered piece might lead us closer to understanding the parts of history that slipped through the cracks of time. And so, the digging and the dreaming and the wondering continue, believing in the thrilling idea that maybe we are not the first life to feel the earth under our feet. Chapter 3: Prehistoric Hints. Imagine walking through a dense, mysterious jungle where every sound makes you stop and listen. The birds call out in patterns, and the wind rustles through ancient trees, some of which are so big you could barely wrap your arms around them. As you keep moving, you'll trip over a stone that seems out of place, fallen among the roots and leaves. You bend down to brush away the soil and leaves clinging to it, revealing a strange carving, something that doesn't belong in this wild, untouched place. What is it doing there? This stone might just be a peek into a world from so long ago we can hardly imagine it. Was there an old civilization that existed on our planet, long before humans as we know them ever took their first steps? Could this stone be a hint left behind by these forgotten ancestors who, maybe, once walked the earth like we do? It's fascinating to think about how many mysteries lie hidden beneath our feet. The earth has been around for billions of years. Our kind, the modern-day humans, have been around for only a small blink of that time. And yet, the idea that there could have been other intelligent beings who came before us is both exciting and a little bit eerie, isn't it? Maybe, in some places, the earth holds stories far older than any human history we have. There are places on our planet where strange things have been found, like tools or structures that seem too old or too advanced for the humans that we know existed at those times. For example, here and there, researchers have discovered stone structures under the sea, like in a place off the coast of Japan. Could these be remnants of an old city that sank beneath the waves? If they were just rocks, shaped by nature, why do they seem so perfectly arranged, like steps or platforms? The thought that a whole civilization might be buried beneath our oceans is something that makes our imaginations run wild then. There are those ancient, great monuments that continue to baffle us, like the pyramids. People often wonder how they were built, considering the technology that must have been available at the time. Was it just lots of hard work and time, or did they know something we don't? What if they had help from another group or used skills learned from people who came before them. Maybe, just maybe, these massive structures were inspired by something that has been long forgotten. If you look at some of the oldest known human structures, like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, you're seeing buildings that were constructed over 12,000 years ago. That's way older than the pyramids. It really makes you wonder who the people who built them were and what they knew. They left behind large stone pillars with animals carved into them, and some say it almost seems like they wanted to communicate with us across the ages. What were they trying to tell us? There's also the idea of human-like beings who might have roamed the planet millions of years ago, their bones or tools yet to be found by our scientists. Some folks think that our ancestors might have had epic adventures long before the stories we know from ancient myths and legends. It's a theory that ties into legends from all over the world, tales of great floods, lost cities, and knowledge passed down through generations, often orally or in symbols, until they were forgotten. Nature has a way of reclaiming its land. Forests grow over cities, and sands can cover them. Rivers can wash away towns over centuries. If there were ancient civilizations, would we find proof of them, or are their secrets hidden forever beneath layers of earth and stone? Maybe the hints they left are ones we just haven't learned to recognize yet. Archaeologists and scientists keep digging and exploring, trying to puzzle out what our ancient ancestors knew. They find small pieces, like fossilized footprints or tools buried in deep layers of earth, hinting at stories far too old to be written down. Also, on occasion, there are mysterious artifacts that scientists call out-of-place artifacts. These are objects that seem to be far older than we thought possible for their type or level of technology. Whether forged from glass, metal, or bone, they make us question our current understanding of history and our planet's timeline. Exploring these tantalizing possibilities is like peering through a foggy window, just trying to catch a clearer glimpse. With every dig and every discovery, we may be edging closer to understanding whether we had distant predecessors who lived, loved, and created long before our own civilizations began. Even with all the technology we have today, it remains a great challenge to piece together history from millions of years ago. The Earth is vast and still holds many surprises, nestled away under its vast seas, deserts, and forests. The search is ongoing, with every new find adding a piece, a line, a texture to the grand mural of our planet's past. In contemplating this, remember that what we know is just a small fraction of what remains to be found. Our ancestors, if they existed so long ago, might have been much like us, walking their own paths on Earth, wondering if anything or anyone came before them. Above all, perhaps as we ponder on these old hints, we might open our minds to the possible magic and wonder of discovering, step by step, the true history of our world. Chapter 4: Lost in Time. Imagine a world where everything we know about history isn't set in stone. It's a world where what we consider ancient is just a tiny sprout on the grand tree of existence. In this series, we explore what it would mean if our civilization isn't the first to have called Earth home. Now, let's dive into another part of this story. Once upon a time, long before our known history, there might have been another world, strange and wonderful, nestled within the very fabric of the Earth. Think about a time where massive cities, gleaming with mysterious energies, sprawled across continents we now scarcely recognize. Imagine buildings that touched the sky, made from materials so strong and yet so elegant, they would seem like magic to us today. The people, if we can call them that, who lived in these grand cities, might have spoken languages that flowed like music. their words having the power to shape their world in ways we can only dream about. These people, or beings, might not have looked like us at all. They could have been taller or shorter. They could have had features or abilities that we would think belong only in fairy tales. Maybe they communicated not just with words, but with thoughts and feelings, sharing ideas without ever speaking. And their art and culture, oh, how amazing it must have been. Perhaps they created works that danced with light, changing and moving as you watched, telling stories in colors we can't even see. But for all their wonders, something happened. Something changed. It could have been sudden, like a great storm, or slowly, like the setting of the sun. Perhaps they discovered something they shouldn't have, or their curiosity led them down a path from which they couldn't return. It might have been the environment, a natural disaster, or even something from outside our little blue planet that triggered their downfall. What if their own advancements led to their undoing? They might have flown too close to the sun, so to speak, and paid the ultimate price, fast forward to us. As we dig deeper into the earth, searching for secrets and stories from long ago, we occasionally stumble upon strange artifacts and structures. The things we find sometimes don't fit into our neat boxes of history. We brush them aside, saying, maybe later. But what if these relics aren't odd at all in their original context? There might be the echoes of that old world, long lost to time, just whispering to us from the shadows. Sometimes, deep in the forest or beneath the oceans, we find things that make us scratch our heads, like buildings hidden under hundreds of years of growth, or stones carved in ways that don't make sense with what we know. Some people say these are just tricks of time or Mother Nature, but maybe they are clues left behind by those ancient beings. When we take journeys to these places, something odd happens. It's like an energy lives in these spots, a hum or feel that makes us think there's more than meets the eye. Have you ever felt that shiver when you stand in an ancient place? That feeling like someone or something is whispered in your ear? Maybe that's the past, trying to talk to the present, yearning to be heard in the currents of modern life. For those who dare to believe or dream, these mysteries tug at the edges of science and imagination. There's a tug-of-war between what we can touch and see, and what might be possible if only we dared to look beyond the stories of our time. The thought that somewhere in the past there was a different line, a different story, one with its own successes and failures. What does that mean for us? What should we learn from them? If they weren't so different from us in their quest for knowledge, joy, and discovery, should we be mindful? Do these thoughts wrap around your mind like vines, urging you to wonder and dream? It's a gentle reminder that our world is old, older than we can comprehend. Maybe, just maybe, this world remembers more than it ever lets on. Invisible threads might still weave through time, connecting the then and now, hints from a lost era trying to reach out to us. So as you go about your day, take a moment to listen when the wind sighs, or when the waves crash on the shore. Look at the stars and wonder who or what might have gazed at the same sky so long ago, pondering their place just like we do now. We're all pieces of a much bigger puzzle than we can see. In the end, whether these stories are just that, stories, or if somewhere deep down they hold a kernel of truth, it's the wondering that counts, the curiosity and the magic of what if. Each question a stepping stone to the next adventure, urging us forward on this incredible journey through time. Chapter 5: Inexplicable Artifacts. Imagine walking in a field, minding your own business, when you stumble upon something strange sticking out of the dirt. You brush off the soil with your hands, and discover a rusty old tool that looks like nothing you've ever seen before. You might think it's just junk left behind by people from long ago. But what if it's not from people at all? At least, not from the people we know in history books. Let's take a step back and think about the world a really long time ago, before the pyramids, before the wheel, even before humans roamed the earth. Scientists who study the Earth's past tell us that the planet is about 4.5 billion years old. That's a super long time, way longer than humans have been around. Humans, the walking around and talking kind, have been here for only about 200,000 years. In that immense span of time, could there have been other creatures, another civilization that reached amazing heights before it all vanished? And if they did exist, could they have left behind things we would call artifacts? People have found things over the years that make them wonder. Strange objects have been discovered in places like deep inside rocks or buried under layers of soil that should be way older than humans. Take, for example, the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek device found in a shipwreck, which seems to be an early form of a computer. It is a complicated piece of technology that is way ahead of its time. Now, scientists can explain how it came to be, but imagine finding something like this in rocks that are millions of years old, that would make anyone scratch their head and wonder. In some coal mines, workers have reported finding odd objects that don't seem to belong. Imagine digging deep underground and finding a chain or a cup that looks handmade. The coal they dig through is often millions of years old. So how did these objects get there? Were they left by humans, or by someone or something else long before? It's like finding a modern car key in your great-grandma's attic when you know for sure she's never driven a car. There have also been stories about giant stone spheres in Costa Rica. These stones are amazingly round and look like someone or something made them on purpose. But no one really knows why they are there or who made them. Some say they were carved by ancient people, while others wonder if they come from an even older civilization. Could this be evidence of an advanced group that lived and worked thousands or even millions of years before us? Scientists usually want solid proof before they change their minds about the past, and they work hard to figure it all out. They look at artifacts with careful eyes, study the layers of earth where they are found, and try to piece together what life was like way back when. They measure how old things are by looking at rocks, bones, and even the stars above, trying to figure out a timeline that makes sense. But not everything can be explained easily. It's in our nature to be curious and wonder about what might have been. What if the strange artifacts are not what they seem? Imagine a small dig site, and among the broken pottery and old tools, someone finds a metallic object with wires and circuits. Now that would be something. Of course, we haven't found anything like that yet, least not that we know of. But what if the Earth has hidden some secrets deep underground, waiting to surprise us one day? As we ponder these mysteries, it's important to remember that not knowing everything is okay. In fact, it's what makes the world so exciting and full of possibilities. Our imaginations are free to go wild with ideas of ancient cities, forgotten technologies, and civilizations that might have once walked the same ground we do now. It's like a puzzle with a million pieces, and we have only a few bits scattered on the table. And think about what an ancient civilization might have looked like. Would they have cities like ours with tall buildings, or maybe villages nestled in the mountains, using technology as different from ours as fire is from electricity? Would they have music, art, and stories to tell, passed down through generations, maybe even sent through a type of communication we can't dream up yet? Whether they left evidence in vast libraries or in the mysterious scribbles on cave walls, there is something magical in the idea of others who went before us. In our journey of wandering and exploring, we may find that some daydreams turn out to be just that. Dreams without answers, but sometimes that's part of what makes history so enchanting. Each weird find hints at stories we may never fully know. Is it possible we are not the first to walk this road, and others have traveled it before us in ways we can barely understand? So the next time you find something a bit strange, don't be quick to brush it off. It might just be a piece of a larger puzzle, a clue that leads us to question what once was. Enjoy the ride of discovery, because even if we never find all the answers, there's a special kind of magic in simply asking the questions. Chapter 6: Secrets Beneath Soil. Imagine if the world we live in today was not the first world at all. What if, way before us, there were others who walked the earth? It's a strange thought, isn't it? But let's go on a journey together. Let's dig deep into the layers of soil and time, searching for whispers of ancient footsteps. Have you ever wondered what's buried beneath the ground we walk on? It's more than just dirt and stones. Underneath our feet lie stories, hidden and waiting to be discovered, like a mysterious treasure chest. Scientists and explorers have always been curious about what our planet might be hiding. Beneath layers and layers of earth, there could be hints of an ancient past, a civilization that came before ours. Sometimes, when we dig deep into the ground, we find old bones or broken pieces of pottery. These are like puzzle pieces from the past. We try to fit them together to see what the picture looked like. Could these be pieces from a time long before us? Sure, we mostly find fossils of dinosaurs and traces of early humans. But what if, buried even deeper, there are secrets waiting to be uncovered about people who once lived here? Imagine a place where an ancient city once stood. A bustling place full of life, laughter, and stories. Over time, it all got covered by layers of soil, dust, and rock. The city might have vanished from the surface, but its secrets are still there, sleeping under the earth. Maybe deep down, there are streets, tools, and even writings that tell us how people lived back then. They could have had homes, markets, and schools, just like us. Or maybe their lives were completely different, something we can't even imagine. Explorers and thinkers throughout history have asked questions like these. People have wondered if there were others before us who were just as clever or, maybe even more so. Sometimes people find strange objects they can't explain. Oddly shaped stones or metal pieces that don't seem to fit with our history. These things make us scratch our heads and think about possibilities. What kind of technology could they have had? Could they have had flying machines or built towering structures reaching the sky? We don't know for sure, but it's fascinating to imagine. Maybe they were creators in their own unique way, leaving behind inventions buried by time. The earth hides its secrets well, keeping us guessing and dreaming. In places like deserts or deep jungles, there might be untouched lands where ancient lives could be hidden. These places might hold traces of unknown peoples, but it is hard work to search in such remote areas. Yet, brave archaeologists and scientists keep looking, hopeful and curious. Each dig might uncover a new piece to the puzzle. But why don't we see clear evidence of such civilizations, you might ask? Nature is a mighty force. Over thousands of years, earthquakes, floods, and other natural events can change the landscape drastically. Once towering cities might be eroded or swallowed by the earth or oceans, lost to us forever. The world we see today is shaped by nature's unending might and time's gentle giant hands. Another question arises. What happened to them? Did these ancient people meet with disaster, or did they simply fade away, leaving a blank page for us to fill? Some might think that natural calamities, like a giant meteor or massive earthquakes, could have wiped them out. Others believe they evolved or adapted into something else entirely. And what if, in their last days, they left behind messages for future generations like us? Intricate carvings on stones, tales carved into walls, or legends passed down through time. Maybe these messages are all around us, but we've yet to understand them fully. It's like trying to read a book with most of its pages missing, and the words are in a language we're only just beginning to decipher. If such a civilization did exist, they could teach us so much. Their successes and failures would be lessons we could learn from. We could gain insights into how to live more harmoniously with the earth and each other. Their stories might inspire us, challenge us, or even comfort us, showing that we are all part of a long, intertwined story of life on this planet. It's fun to ponder, isn't it? The idea that beneath every step we take lies potential mysteries waiting for their day under the sun. While we don't have all the answers now, the curiosity drives us forward. It keeps explorers digging, searching, and hoping for that one breakthrough moment. So the next time you walk outside, pause and think about the ground beneath you. Imagine all the history hiding just beneath the surface. Perhaps one day, as we dig deeper, both into the earth and into the past, we'll find the keys to these mysteries. Until then, we remain dreamers, explorers of thought, and seekers of the unknown. Each discovery brings us closer to fitting more pieces into the grand jigsaw puzzle of Earth. Chapter 7: Echoes of the Past. Imagine if, long before us, there were other beings, maybe like us, or maybe not, who lived on Earth. They built cities and invented things, just like we do, but then they disappeared. Now, only tiny traces of their lives are left behind, hidden in places where we might never think to look. Let's take a journey to uncover what might remain of such a civilization. You see, the Earth is very old. It's been around for billions of years. Humans, as we know them, have only been here for a tiny fraction of that time. So, what if, 1,000,000 years ago, another group of intelligent beings walked the planet? What would they have left behind, and why haven't we found much evidence of them? One possibility is that their cities could be buried deep underground. Over thousands and thousands of years, layers of dirt and rock pile up. If a city was abandoned, nature would slowly take over. Buildings could crumble, plants might grow over them, and eventually, the city would be hidden completely. In fact, the older the remains, the deeper they might be buried. We might not have the tools or the luck to have stumbled upon them yet. Another thing to think about is that over time, materials break down. Imagine a simple piece of paper. Leave it outside for a few days and the sun and rain will wear it down until it's gone. Over many years, metal might rust, wood would rot, and what was once an impressive structure could become nothing but dust. It's possible that anything left by past beings would have simply faded away. But there are some things that don't vanish so easily. Stone, for instance, can last a very long time. Think about the pyramids of Egypt. They've been around for thousands of years. If ancient civilizations built things using durable stones, some traces might still exist. Maybe those strange rock formations we come across could be the remnants of long-lost homes or monuments. There are other clues that could hint at such a civilization. Scientists study the Earth's layers, like reading the lines in a book, to learn what happened long ago. Sometimes they find odd patterns or unusual objects that don't quite fit with what we know of history. These could be instances of past technology, lost words or languages, or art that tells stories of a time before ours. And what about myths and legends? Many cultures have stories about great floods, vanished cities, or advanced beings who lived before them. Perhaps these tales are echoes of real events, passed down and changed over countless generations. Maybe they are hints left to us from people who once existed. Stories have a way of sticking around, even when everything else is gone. Let's not forget about the ocean, too. Much of our world lies beneath deep water. Over time, sea levels have risen and fallen. An entire civilization could have been swallowed by the sea, forgotten and out of reach. Unique coral reefs or odd shapes on the ocean floor could be the only signs that something was once there. But why did these beings disappear? It's a tough question. Earth has gone through many changes: volcanoes, earthquakes, ice ages, and more. Any one of these could have wiped out life as it was, or perhaps they simply moved on, leaving behind only their shadows. In the end, thinking about what might have come before us opens our minds to possibilities. It reminds us that history is vast and mysterious, full of questions that keep us curious. As we continue to explore and learn, who knows what amazing discoveries we might stumble upon next. There's always more to find, more stories to unearth, and more secrets just waiting to be heard. So, let's keep our eyes open and our imaginations ready, for the past might not be as distant as we believe. Perhaps, in some corner of our world, a piece of that puzzle lays hidden, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets to those who are willing to listen. Chapter 8. Rewriting History. Once upon a time, far before our computers, cars, or towering skyscrapers, there were whispers of an ancient world lost in the depths of history. Imagine, for a moment, that long before the pyramids, beyond the reach of the oldest maps or legends, there existed a civilization on Earth. This was a civilization that flourished, thrived, and perhaps mysteriously disappeared without a trace, leaving only silent echoes in our soil and stones. Picture yourself walking through a bustling city filled with creations that seem out of dreams. A place where people lived lives not too different from ours, yet entirely alien too. Can you see it? The sunlight glinting off towering, strange buildings made from materials almost magic-like, unknown to our modern science. Then, imagine all of that disappearing, swallowed by time and nature, waiting quietly beneath layers of earth for someone curious enough to find it. In this world, people tell stories of mysteries hidden beneath the ground. Some say these tales are just myths or legends, but what if they aren't? What if, in the deep past, entire cities existed that could alter the way we understand our history? Imagine finding a device so advanced it would leave scientists scratching their heads. How did they make such wonders without the technology we pride ourselves on today? This question alone might make you wonder if everything we know is but a piece of a larger, unfinished puzzle. The idea of a lost world, a mighty civilization hidden under the dust of ages, tickles the imagination. It makes you want to dig in your garden, hoping to strike something extraordinary. What if we weren't as groundbreaking or unique as we think? Perhaps technology isn't new but rediscovered. What if this ancient civilization had tools that look like fantasy to us now? Maybe they had ways to travel the world quickly, or ways to harness power from the natural elements in awesome ways. These mysterious powers could explain ancient wonders we still can't fully understand, like the perfect construction of enormous stone structures or stories of places that seem to defy logic. Often, we see old artifacts and just guess at their purposes. An oddly shaped rock, an elaborate gold figurine, carvings on walls that seem like random art. What if instead they were part of a much bigger picture? These relics could be leftovers from a time when humans, or perhaps another kind of being, mastered skills we've yet to learn. As we find more clues and pieces, the dots might connect, painting an incredible picture of what once was. People talk, they wonder. Some believe in stories of such people living long ago, conquering space and time, only to vanish without a trace. Others say it's impossible, just fantasy. But isn't it exciting to ponder, to let your mind wander across the ages? Some scientists, in dark-hued museums and dusty libraries, debate these ideas. Some even go out into jungles or dive into deep seas, peering through layers of history for evidence. They search for proof, anything that proves this ancient civilization thrived once. How fascinating it would be to discover that we are not as original or innovative as we think, that humanity is part of a loop, rising to great heights, only to whisper away and maybe begin again. Such thoughts make us humble and curious, urging us to reevaluate everything we know about where we come from. Technology allows us to uncover secrets faster now. Satellites scan vast terrains for regular shapes hidden under forest canopies. Drones fly over hard-to-reach areas, bringing back pictures and data for curious minds to decode. And yet, the ground holds its secrets close. Some mysteries wait for the right question, the right discovery to unfold. Our imaginations run wild considering an Earth shaped and nurtured by others long before us. They might have faced problems like we do, natural disasters, changes in their environment, conflicts, or even catastrophic events that led to their decline. They could have had dreams and visions that build a legacy now buried under mountains and seas. When we find even a small trace of what might be, it inspires us to understand more deeply, to learn where we came from and what our place in the universe might truly be. Humankind is curious, and in this curiosity there's always the excitement of the unknown and the thrill of discovery. The possibility that our civilization isn't the first, and perhaps not the last, pushes us toward a better understanding of our world and our past. It encourages us to ask questions and strive for answers, embracing our history not as a steady, straight line, but as a complex, exciting web of stories waiting to be told. In a sense, we are writing our own story every day, adding chapters. But in the back of our mind, we wonder about the chapters we haven't read, the stories still quiet, forgotten or ignored, simply waiting for the right moment to come alive again. Chapter 9: Clues from the Abyss. Imagine a world where everything we think we know about our history gets turned upside down. What if the world didn't start with us? What if, long before us, there were others, people or beings that lived, loved, and maybe even thought just like us? This chapter delves into that mind-boggling idea, exploring clues hidden in the deepest, darkest parts of our planet. Let's take a journey to the places where not many people have ventured. The oceans. Endless, mysterious waters cover most of our Earth. These deep, dark places hold secrets from long ago, possibly even before the first humans ever walked on land. Most of the oceans remain unexplored, just like a gigantic, forgotten library where books are waiting to be read. Imagine being on a ship, peering over the edge into the vast, black waters beneath. You can feel it calling out to you. The mystery is almost whispering. As you start exploring these depths, something incredible happens. You find curious formations on the seabed. These aren't just rocks or coral reefs. Some look like they might have been made by someone or something. Could these strange formations be structures built by a civilization that came long before us? And it's not just the strange structures that raise questions. Down in those murky depths, scientists have found odd tools. Not just any tools, but things you wouldn't expect to see underwater. Metal objects, shaped like the kind of things people use on land. How did they get down there? Who made them? Could it be that advanced beings once lived under the sea, long before our time? Then there are the underwater currents. Some scientists believe these currents carry stories from the past. Can you believe it? These swirling waters might hold clues, tiny bits of evidence trapped in the sands of the ocean floor, telling tales of a world long forgotten. Even the creatures that live in these deep ocean waters are intriguing. They look like they're from another time and place. Giant squids with massive, staring eyes and jellyfish that glow in the dark. Could these creatures be the descendants of life forms from a forgotten era? Maybe they hold the key to understanding a world that existed before humans were ever a thought. And what about legends and stories from different cultures around the world? Many speak of great floods and sunken cities. The underwater worlds in these tales might not just be old stories. Maybe they are memories passed down through generations, slowly evolving into legends as civilizations rise and fall, exploring the ocean depths with modern technology. Scientists sometimes stumble upon baffling evidence. Submarines with cameras capture videos of these underwater marvels, making some wonder if, just maybe, these are part of a puzzle waiting to be solved. Sonar pings discover sunken structures that withstood the ravages of waves and time. Think about the mysteries these explorers encounter. In one part of the ocean, they find what appear to be colossal pyramids. Their size and shape are just like the ones we know from ancient Egypt. But these are different, much older. Scientists have no idea who built them or why. Elsewhere, they find what looks like a sunken road. Stretches of flat stones laid out like a path leading somewhere. Where might this road have gone? Was there once an advanced society that connected distant territories with people much like us, traveling from one place to another over massive ocean-spanning highways? And then there are ancient, fossilized remains of sea creatures intertwined with seemingly man-made objects. These artifacts puzzle researchers. How did items like pottery shards or stone carvings end up intertwined with creatures that roamed the earth millions of years before humans? The possibility of earlier civilizations fills one with wonder. Each clue presents more questions than answers. Who were they? What did they know? Why did they vanish? As more discoveries are made from the depths, speculation continues to grow. Scholars around the world gather to discuss these findings, comparing notes from various expeditions. Some people dismiss the ideas as fancy tales, preferring to stick with what they learned from books. Others, however, feel the excitement deep in their bones, wondering if maybe, just maybe, the history of our planet is far richer than they ever imagined. Thinking about these possibilities can be thrilling. Mystery and exploration dance together in a story yet to be fully written. It urges humanity to broaden its perspective, opening modern minds to unknown possibilities lurking beneath the waves of forgotten legacy hidden in the deep dots. So, next time you find yourself near the ocean, take a moment to listen. Listen to the waves and the whispers of the water, talking about a time lost in shadows, waiting to be remembered and discovered anew. Because the past is always closer than we think, sometimes resting just below the surface, ready to resurface as part of an ever-unfolding story. Chapter 10: Civilization Reborn. Imagine a world where everything we know about history is suddenly turned upside down. All the things we thought about human civilization, being the first to build cities, write stories, and create art, might not be true. What if there were others before us who did the same things, but in a different way? What if they lived here thousands of years ago, leaving behind secrets buried under the ground, waiting to be discovered? In this story, we find ourselves looking at a world where those ancient civilizations have become a focal point for scientists and curious minds. People are excited about the possibility of uncovering remnants of these mysterious societies. They start digging, looking for pieces of pottery, tools, or even buildings hidden beneath our feet. The idea of discovering something so old and forgotten is thrilling. It's like being on a treasure hunt, but instead of gold or jewelry, the prize is knowledge. As people keep searching, they begin to find clues that change the way we see our planet. The discoveries start small, like unusual rocks or unfamiliar plants that don't fit with current timelines. Then, things get more exciting: ancient carvings on stone blocks, strange metal tools, even underground spaces that look like they might have been rooms or gathering places. Each piece of evidence adds a layer to the story, painting a picture of a world that was once bustling with life in ways we can't fully understand. In response, scientists, historians, and thinkers gather to make sense of these findings. They sit together, sharing ideas and theories. There are endless debates about who these people were, how they lived, and what their world looked like. Some suggest they might have been incredibly advanced, using technology that was forgotten long before our time. Others think their society might have been more about harmony with nature, using simple yet effective ways to build and create. What's special here is not just the possibility of another civilization, but how it makes everyone question what it means to be human. Discovering that we're not the first to think, dream, and build makes people reflect on what we're doing today. Are there lessons to learn from those who came before us? Could understanding their successes and failures help us avoid making the same mistakes? It's a humbling thought that connects us deeply to the past, urging us to think about the legacy we're leaving for future generations. Communities around the world start to feel united in this quest for answers. It's no longer just about scientists or historians. Everyone wants to be part of discovering more. People share stories of finding long-lost tales in books or secret carvings in caves that hint at these forgotten worlds. There's a sense of wonder and urgency, as if everyone is racing against time to uncover as much as they can before the earth hides these secrets away again. Schools and universities begin to introduce new subjects, focusing on this newfound history. Children are taught to not only look forward, but also to look back. Lessons include ways to think differently about how life once was and how it could be again. These discoveries inspire the young to explore, question, and dream about what the future might hold if they learn from the past. All these changes lead to a shift in how society functions. People are more curious and open-minded. They start valuing different perspectives, understanding that our world is much more diverse and complex than it seems. Environmental efforts gain momentum as people realize how previous civilizations might have thrived or perished due to their relationship with the earth. This knowledge becomes a wake-up call to care for our own planet. to ensure it remains strong and healthy for those who will come after us. Art and architecture also see a transformation. Artists find inspiration in the styles and symbols of those who lived here long before us, blending them with modern techniques. Buildings begin to reflect both old and new, standing as reminders of where we've been and where we could go. Public spaces fill with conversations and performances that celebrate these new discoveries, sparking curiosity and appreciation for the different tapestries of human existence. In this moment of renewal, humanity takes a step back to appreciate all that it has learned. It's a period of rediscovery, not just of ancient bones and artifacts, but of values that define what it means to be a part of this planet. With each dig and each uncovering, we find more about ourselves, our roots, and our potential to create a future that honors both past and present. Through all these endeavors, one thing becomes clear: our journey is never-ending. As one mystery is solved, another appears. There will always be questions to ask, lessons to learn, and stories to tell. And as we move forward, we cherish the knowledge that we're part of something much larger than ourselves, tied to a history that stretches far beyond the horizon.